you ever stare at your phone screen as a group chat invite pops up, and instead of feeling excited, a sudden wave of absolute exhaustion washes over you? You realize you would rather spend your entire weekend alone, reorganizing your room or just sitting in total silence, than force a fake smile at a crowded party making meaningless small talk. Why does the very thing the rest of the world craves leave you feeling so incredibly drained? Why does having only one or two close friends, or actually craving isolation, make you secretly wonder, is there something deeply wrong with me? We live in a society that worships the loudest person in the room, making you feel completely broken just for wanting peace. But what if you are not broken at all? What if I told you that psychologists have been quietly studying people exactly like you for decades? Shrinking your social circle is not a psychological defect. It is actually the ultimate proof of a rare, hidden superpower. Society constantly gaslights us into confusing two completely different emotional states. We are conditioned to believe that being alone automatically means being lonely. But loneliness is a sharp, aching pain when your deep need for connection goes starved. Chosen solitude, however, is a deeply peaceful sanctuary. This is not just a comforting thought. It is hard science. Researchers at the University of Chicago, utilizing the UCLA Loneliness Scale, have proven that our culture has it all backwards. They discovered that someone with just three close friends from college can experience profound, unwavering fulfillment. Meanwhile, someone with thousands of followers who attends parties every single night can still be eaten alive by a crushing, silent emptiness. The science is crystal clear. Your brain does not care about the quantity of your social interactions. It only craves the absolute quality of truly being seen and fundamentally understood for who you are behind closed doors. So what actually happens inside the mind of someone who embraces having a very small circle? The first major psychological trait they develop is exceptional emotional self-regulation. When the room goes quiet, they do not panic. Most people are absolutely terrified of silence because it forces them to finally hear their own thoughts. They constantly seek out loud environments, endless group chats, and superficial friendships just to drown out their own inner voice. They treat other people like emotional pacifiers or use them as dumping grounds to desperately fill their own internal void. But people who thrive in solitude have learned to sit safely with their own feelings. They process their own pain without immediately handing that heavy emotional burden off to someone else. This deep emotional independence leads directly into their second defining trait. They possess a powerful intrinsic motivation paired with crystal clear self-awareness. When you stop constantly outsourcing your self-worth to the crowd, something beautiful happens. You start doing things simply because they align with your own core values, not because they will generate applause. You no longer need the validation of a room full of acquaintances to tell you who you are. You understand your own identity perfectly, and the deafening noise of public approval becomes entirely irrelevant when you have already found quiet peace within yourself. To really understand this, think about that one specific person in your life or at your workplace. Let us call him Min. Min always politely declines those chaotic after-work drinks. He skips the massive company parties and heads straight home to his own safe space. The people around him might whisper, easily labeling him as cold, distant, or completely unapproachable. They mistakenly assume that he simply dislikes people. But here is the breathtaking paradox of someone like Min. While he actively avoids the exhausting crowds, he is the exact same person who will pick up the phone on the first ring at 2 in the morning when your world is completely falling apart. When you are sobbing and desperately need someone to just hold space for your absolute worst moments, the loud life of the party will usually vanish. But Min will stay on the line. He will listen patiently and offer the most profound, non-judgmental wisdom you have ever heard. Why does this happen? Because when people like Min finally choose to connect with you, they are not reading from a shallow, pre-written social script. They do not care about networking, social climbing, or maintaining a flawless public image. Their connection is fiercely authentic. Because they do not drain their energy in meaningless daily interactions, they can bring their entire undivided presence to the table when it actually counts. Where does this profound ability to stand alone actually come from? For many, it begins deep in childhood. While some children run outward to find comfort in the noise of others, These individuals learned very early on how to self-soothe. Instead of relying on external validation or the presence of people to feel safe, they constructed an incredibly rich, vivid internal world. They essentially turned their own minds into an impenetrable fortress of peace. This was not necessarily a trauma response, but rather an early, brilliant psychological evolution. But the true magic of this superpower lies hidden within our neurobiology. Think of your brain like a computer processing system. Every single time you are in a social setting, your mind is burning massive amounts of energy. It is constantly decoding micro-expressions, analyzing shifting group dynamics, and carefully calculating the correct social responses. It is absolutely exhausting. When you intentionally step away from the crowd, you immediately free up all of that wasted neural bandwidth. And when your brain is no longer bogged down by the heavy demands of social performance, it shifts into a highly advanced state called divergent thinking. This is the mental zone where true brilliance lives. It is the ability to explore multiple solutions, make unusual connections, and generate entirely original ideas without the suffocating pressure of groupthink. Albert Einstein understood this biological mechanism perfectly. He once stated that the monotony and solitude of a quiet life stimulates the creative mind. When you choose to be alone, you are not missing out on inspiration. You are actively creating the necessary empty space for it to finally find you. However, we must be incredibly careful not to blindly romanticize isolation. Simply having zero friends does not automatically make you a misunderstood genius, nor does it make you bulletproof against emotional pain. There is a very sharp, dangerous line between chosen solitude and forced isolation. The National Institute on Aging has extensively documented the severe health risks of what they call chronic perceived isolation. This happens when you actually crave deep connection, but feel completely cut off from the world. When isolation is not a choice, it becomes deeply destructive. Long-term studies link this specific type of persistent loneliness to rapid cognitive decline and severe cardiovascular problems. It can literally break your heart and mind over time. So you must ask yourself one brutally honest question right now. Is your current solitude a warm, comforting blanket that you intentionally wrapped around yourself? Or is it a cold, silent prison that you simply do not know how to escape? Ultimately, human connection exists on a vast, beautiful spectrum. Some people are like the sprawling leaves of a tree. They absolutely need the constant, bright sunlight of the crowd every single day just to feel alive. But others, like you, are the roots. You only need a few deep connections, pushing far down into the silent earth, to stand unshakable. The person with only two close friends and a brilliant internal world is not failing at life. And the person with 50 casual acquaintances is not doing it wrong either. You are simply running on completely different psychological operating systems. You do not need to apologize for who you are. Sometimes having the profound courage to choose the quiet and refusing to dissolve yourself into the loud crowd is the most radically authentic way to protect your own soul. If this video finally put your deepest unspoken thoughts into words, please leave a comment down below. You might just find a whole community of people who are enjoying the exact same quiet peace that you are. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button so we can keep decoding the fascinating hidden corners of human psychology together. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.